Hello everyone, welcome to The Very Good Show. I'm your host, Pictures and Panavision, and today, please give a very warm welcome to our first guest, Ratlobber. How are you doing today, Ratlobber?
Oh, I'm doing great. I have a big nasty cup of tea, and it's very big and large, and I'm on my friend Pip's show, The Very Good Show.
Do you know why it's called The Very Good Show?
I would reckon that it's because it's a very good show.
It's very good. Critics have called it pretty okay, as a matter of fact.
That is absolutely crazy. That's wild and that's nuts.
We got a 75% on Rotten Tomatoes on the audience score and a 60% on the critic score, so I think we're doing pretty good.
Well, actually, I looked at the letterboxd for this show, and people were saying it was not very good. But that's another episode.
You know, we can talk about how terrible Letterboxd is next episode.
Yeah.
But because that's not the point of this. Letterboxd does suck because they said my show is bad, but I'm not mad about it. I'm good.
Critics, man.
On this show, I'd like to I want to sort of give a spotlight to a creator that I happen to like, or whose content I like, who I know even. And Ratlobber, you fit all three of those categories. How does that make you feel?
That's crazy. That's I'm like patient zero for like a terrible illness or something. That's how it feels.
I'm honored to hear you say that. I truly am.
It's like it's nice. It's a crazy, wacky feeling.
It is indeed pretty wacky. It is pretty wacky. Now I do have a piece of paper here. Let me get it out. All right, I've got a piece of paper here that's got a bunch of questions on it, and my producers wanted me to ask them to you, if that's all right with you.
That's fine. That's fine. We can do that.
All right, only if it's okay with you. So, question number one. Now, for those of you unaware, and I'm sure most of you are aware, but for those of you who aren't, Ratlobber is a fellow Instagram influencer who makes videos about I'm not sure if you could say he first got some attention based off them, but he made some videos on the upcoming game Sandbox that were very good, and they got a fair bit of attention. And then he started making, TF2 videos that are very good. He made some videos I can only really categorize as other. And then he, I mean, how would you describe them?
Other is good. There are very much other videos, I think.
Like I can't think of an adjective or a category for them, so they're other, but they're still very good. And he even got himself embroiled in some how should we say, some drama alert drama, but we can get to that in a minute. We can get to that later. Now that you all know exactly who this person I'm talking to is, let's ask him some funny little questions. So first off, this is kind of an easy one. This is kind of a cliche one even, but I feel like on this show we need to be embracing cliche and then tearing them down with our extreme amounts of intelligence. So that first question is who or what inspired you to start making videos? Like when you made your YouTube channel, what was the impetus for that?
Well, I think it'd be dishonest to say, and because it's very obvious. It'd be dishonest to say that Video Game Donkey, the YouTuber Video Game Donkey, was not like part of I guess I don't know. I always liked tell you the truth, I've been watching like two YouTube channels for like the past like 15 years, right? And there were Mega 64 and Video Game Donkey, and I guess Mega 64 is like the ground zero of Ratlobberism dom, you know what I mean? Like Ratlobberdom.
And I think in some of your earlier videos, there's definitely some influence there, but I don't think that, that's not a bad thing. I think it didn't take long for you to sort of carve off and do your own thing, inject more of your own personality into it, while still keeping that influence more or less a little apparent.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of how, honestly, I think I said this before to friends who also do YouTube. You might know him as Victor Overtime, but
Victor Overtime, we know him. He's a good friend of the channel.
I said that it's kind of almost a little dumb to not like copy when you're first starting, like because like as far as like thumbnails goes and like how like honestly if you're not looking at what's popular and like kind of putting your own spin on it, then you're not very bright, I think.
Right. No one can start off doing their own thing. No one can start off with a purely original idea. You know,
Yeah, it's
content
very hard.
creation is just an endless loop of people trying something new, and then another person comes along, does that same thing for a little bit, and then puts their own personality on it. Like, you say you were kind of copying. I think copying is a bit of a harsh word, but you were kind of following in the footsteps of people like Donkey, and I think that influence is apparent, but not overwhelming. Like, I don't look at your channel and think this is a Donkey clone, but
Yeah.
my channel was much the same way. Now, you've obviously got a lot more uploads than I do, but my first few videos, up until my latest one, honestly, if we're being completely honest, was kind of a Blame It on Jorge ripoff. if anyone here is familiar with Blame It on Jorge, he makes lost media videos about weird real life events, and that's what I started off doing, and I did kind of the same thing he did. But I think that's just the nature of making content of any kind, not just YouTube videos, is that you can't start off doing your own thing, your own purely 100% original thing.
Yeah, I agree. There's that's just how like that's how YouTube is, and that's how basically everything is. Everything that as far as like stuff that doesn't what's the good way to put it? As far as like the stuff that we're making here on this crazy internet that doesn't need to be made, it's kind of all derivative. So there's no shame in like deriving, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's it'd be to have like a at the end of the day, when you meet your largest audience, the standout influence will be gone, and no one will ever know what, you know what I mean. So it's just foolish to pursue like a 100% original, and I think it's impossible as well. It's like a fool's errand to pursue something 100% original and 100% unique.
Yeah, because no, that's totally true. Because not only, another way of looking at it, I think, is in order to get a sort of jump start with making your own original things, you kind of need to ride a bandwagon a little bit. You kind of need to, just to get that beginning momentum, you need to make something that people are familiar with, and then start to turn it into your own thing, and then eventually you go from riding on a bandwagon to making your own thing, and then that own thing that you've made becomes a bandwagon, so to speak.
It's like a when you jump somebody's car or something, when you're jumper. I know a lot of you guys are mechanic heads out there. You guys are gear heads.
A lot of the Picture Than Panavision subscriber base is mechanics from New Jersey.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So I know them as mechanics from New Jersey will understand. When you jump start a car, and eventually the alternator, it makes its own power for the car, and the second car is jumped, but it's going on its own energy. It's going on its own power. It's crazy. It's a crazy concept, but that's how YouTube is too. You just you get a jump start, and then your alternator spins around, and you create your own energy, and then someone takes it off you and does the same thing, and it's an endless cycle.
Exactly. After your car battery gets jump started, eventually after you get that jump start, you're gonna be driving down the road, and then someone else is gonna need their battery jump started. So you whip out your jumper cables and say, "Here's some of my subscribers," and there you go.
That's how it is.
That's
the way to do it.
For those of you that don't make like any kind of YouTube content, or that don't have channels, that's actually the first thing YouTube tells you when you make a channel. It shows a video of people jump starting their car batteries.
It's true. That's the honest to God truth.
It truly is. You heard it here first, folks. We are YouTube
obviously,
insiders.
if you're not a big YouTuber like myself, you probably will never have seen that video. But me and Pip have seen that video every time we log on. In fact, it's
like a daily reminder. It tells us what we strive to be, and that is a mechanic from New Jersey.
It's true. It's very true.
So, my second question for you today, Mr. Lobber, speaking of, is where did you get the name Ratlobber? It's kind of an interesting name, to say the least. And I was just wondering, was there any, how did you come up with that?
So, all right. Here's the God honest truth, and I don't think I've never told the God honest truth to this.
This is
how I got my name.
Is a very good show exclusive.
It's an exclusive piece of trivia that two people probably in the world know about. But if you're familiar with the YouTube, or I guess Newgrounds animator Egoraptor, by any chance, Aaron Hansen. So his name was Egoraptor, and I think I saw a screenshot somewhere where his name backwards was Rot Perose or something.
Naturally.
and I thought it looked cool. So I went by that for a little bit. I was Rat Piroge or something like that.
Okay.
And then it looked like Rat, so I was like Rat Piroge, and then eventually it just turned into Ratlobber. It was like a huge
An evolution.
An evolution. It's crazy that it ties into what we're talking about. You know, it was something else. It was someone else's thing, and then it evolved into Ratlobber somehow.
It's all everything comes full circle on this show. That's one of the main themes of the Very Good Show, is that everything is everything else. You know, I've been saying that since the first episode.
I've always had a very like weird fixation on like online usernames. I think every I've always like wanted to have. I don't know. It's just I put like a lot of stock into what my name looks like on YouTube. Like I had like a bunch of different variations before Ratlobber, and they just didn't look good. They like I was like, this doesn't look good. This doesn't look cool. Like nobody who's gonna say this, whatever. But then I get one that like sticks, and then people start commenting. Like people comment just about the name, and that's like, okay, it's perfect. Then you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, it is a very interesting. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it is very.
No, it's fine.
It's a very interesting name. It's snappy. It's catchy. It's easy to remember, and it also matches a kind of absurdist tone that I like to think you're going for with some of your videos.
I agree. It's I think it's memorable, and like I don't know. It's just something. It's something to talk about before I'm even there. You know what I mean? Before just being brought up gets people thinking about it. I think that's cool. It's like
exactly. I mean, I asked you where your name came from before we started recording this, and you told me, and then I asked you again just for the recording. You told me about the name before you were even in the studio today.
It's true. It's just I don't know. It worked out perfectly. I don't know. I have a very meticulous like username fetish, so I'm glad it I can't stand having a bad username. So
yeah, I don't think many people can. You know, there are some people out there that they thrive on having a bad username. I don't think any of the Pictures and Panavision subscriber base is like that. All my subscribers are really cool and awesome. They've got great usernames.
It's true. Very good usernames. We got so many crazy wacky guys. Got Baller Horatio. You know, funny
Baller Horatio, Little Guy 29.
Yeah,
love Little Guy 29.
Big huge fans.
We've got all the best usernames, all the top screen names, all the best icons. It's fantastic. We have a good time.
Not a single loser among Pip's audiences, believe it or not. It's
naturally. The only loser, me.
Damn.
You know, I feel like that kind of says a lot about what content creation really is. But we can get to that. We can get to that later. So my next question for you is one that I already know the answer to, but it's a question you get a lot in your comments on your videos, and I think this would be a good forum for you to kind of finally give a clear and cut answer instead of having to respond to each and every one of these comments, because I see that you do respond to quite a few of the comments asking this, and I can't help but imagine.
If there's a good question, I try to respond to it, even if it's a guy who's asked it 300 times.
You know, that just means he wants to know 300 times. You know.
Yeah.
So this is a good place for you to finally set the record straight and address the not the elephant in the room, because we've actually got another elephant in the room that we have not addressed yet. We're getting to him later. But the question I have for you is, a lot of your videos use an aesthetic that is very, very popular these days, has been for quite a few years, the kind of retro VHS aesthetic. But your videos go a bit above and beyond, and it looks a lot better. It looks like there's a lot more to it than just going on YouTube and downloading a free MP4 of VHS filter green screen effect, you know?
Yeah.
And just throwing it over your footage in Adobe Premiere. How do you achieve that effect since it looks so much better than just, you know, the average filter that another channel might use? How do you get that kind of quality?
What I do is kind of the equivalent of an insane mad scientist tinkering in a lab. You know what I mean? I have my computer set up. I have a large desk. 30 to 40% of it is actual computer and monitor and keyboard and stuff, and the other percentage, I can't do math, but I think it's 60% is a
60,
VCR,
60 something like that.
VCR with crazy wires hooked up to it to basically put so many crazy wires and boxes. I literally there's like at least 7 wires involved in this whole process, 7 cords. But I with the opposite of digitized analog guys, I guess. I make something digital in After Effects or in Adobe Premiere and DaVinci Resolve, and then I put it on real actual VHS tape in the VCR, I run it through, and then I turn it back into digital. Believe it or not, which is crazy. It's a whole setup. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it. I think
it is worth it because you know, on paper, I think that sounds like you going to a whole lot of work for just a filter over a few parts of your video. But then when you look at the responses to your videos, you've got so many people commenting on how good it looks and wanting to know how you did it. You've got people asking, which VHS filter did you download to make it look like this?
Yeah, it's funny. I used to use a really shitty Blender script to do a VHS filter, and it was good. It was better. It was probably 10 times better than anything you'll see on YouTube, like any shitty VHS filter you see.
Not to brag or anything, we're humble on this show, but it probably was 10 times better than anything else you could ever see on the internet.
It's true, but it was still fake, and it was still and honestly, just the amount of like VHS filters I see, like and effects that are not even like trying. You know what I mean? It's like at a certain point, it's like, if it's that bad, why even try? It's just weird. It's like you might as well have like a big box of text that says, imagine there's a VHS filter here, because it's just bad. It sucks.
I almost fell into that kind of pitfall with my latest video. I almost got a free VHS filter, but then I thought, no, I'm friends with Ratlobber now. I can't stoop down to that kind of impropriety. If I'm gonna do it, I need to do the real thing.
I think the oversaturation of the whole VHS aesthetic is not only the overuse of like VHS filters, it's like the content of where it's kind of this like idealized version of like 80s stuff, or like,
right,
you know, they're not really, it's like it's not believable. It's not like something you'd be like, oh, you know, this is whatever. It's like I don't know, it's just very like big huge 80s like chrome titles and stuff, and like synth wave music in the background. I never liked that. I was never a big fan of that. I never
now, if you
was never for me.
If you look at actual like 80s media, there is media that's like that, but not all of it is like that. You know, especially in the early 80s, things still kind of looked, I'm not sure what the adjective for it would technically be, but things looked a lot more analog, you know, a bit more simple, that like they did in the 70s. It wasn't like in the 80s we just transitioned to this big chrome shiny synthwave aesthetic. It was a gradual thing that happened over the course of the 80s. It's not like the entire decade was defined by this one aesthetic.
Yeah, exactly. And there's also a lot of I think people just don't I'm like a sucker for 80s like titles, I guess, not necessarily the like when you watch a movie, like this is just me, maybe when you watch a movie on VHS tape that's from the 80s, whether it's been digitized from VHS or you're watching it on actual VCR, the everything's kind of wiggling. The text is never just on the, it's never perfect, you know what I mean? It's like, it's
because of
and all this crazy stuff,
because of old like what was the term for older TVs? There was like scan lines, things like that. I can't remember the exact terminology for it, but that was kind of that's something you can't really replicate with a green screen filter. Yeah,
the other thing is it's so I don't know, it's just hard to it never looks right when people try to do it. And I think there are ways, like, I'm not saying either go out and buy a VCR or don't do it at all, but you know what I mean? It's like because obviously it's not available for everybody.
Right.
But there are ways to do it that are like beyond just a shitty filter. And I think if you're going to do it, you should do it well. I don't think you should half-ass it. And
I think that can be applied to nearly every like big trend on YouTube. But that's a bigger topic that maybe we can like put on the back burner for now, because that would take up a whole episode by itself, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you were talking about an idealized version of the 80s, I think that's kind of been a problem for the aesthetic since it was introduced. Ever since vaporwave started getting popular, that term was being thrown around, that style of music was being thrown around.
Yeah, it's like vaporwave and like synthwave, like the Stranger Things effect, where it's like
I will never forgive Stranger Things for what it did to mainstream media. I will never ever forgive that show. It's not even a comment or a remark on the quality of the show. I just hate that everyone's got this idea of the 1980s where all the kids were riding around on their bicycles listening to the same Judas Priest song over and over again.
It's funny it's funny that VHS is associated with the 80s when I mean technically I would guess it was I mean it was longer, it was more like removed from it was out of the 80s longer than it was in the 80s, right? Because it was used until like 2005 probably.
Mhm.
I remember being like 6 or 7 and still getting like Spider-Man on VHS.
Right.
VHS. So I don't know. I feel like personally, I never even strive for like 80s stuff. It's just that the nature of VHS now is like everyone's associates with the 80s. But honestly, a lot of my stuff is very early, like 2000s even. It's like
Right.
like there's a lot of references like Jamiroquai and stuff, and like you know, songs from like 2002 or 2003, and it's like people are like, oh, this is cool 80s, and it's like, well, it's not even close to the, it's like 20 years removed from the 80s.
Yeah.
Man.
I
Just has
think
a VHS filter on it.
I think the aesthetic that most people associate the VHS filter with nowadays is closer to like mid to late 90s than it is to the 80s.
Yeah,
But for some
think
reason,
so.
we've like Mandela affected our way into thinking that it's actually an 80s thing. And to
It's
an
true.
extent it is, but I think it's much more closely related to the 90s than it ever was to the 80s.
yeah, I agree. There's I don't know. It's nice. I like I like to combine because the old web and like old internet stuff was not necessarily like you don't really find that on VHS ever. Or there's nothing like it's not really associated with the VHS aesthetic at all. But the
The
combining it is still cool,
the closest thing you can get is like video dating tapes.
yeah, it's just cool to have like I putting like an OS through a like making a fake OS and putting it through a VHS filter is very cool to me because it feels so distant. Even though I made it like, you know, a week ago or something. It's
Right, right.
it's just cool.
It's
The
an anachronism.
the other thing is that the VHS, no matter the other thing about the VHS filter, no matter how realistic it is, no matter how good it is, it can't. It's not it's like a cherry on top. You know, it's not makeup for a shitty edit or a shitty
Right.
idea. It's I've had like the VHS filter on stuff that I wasn't proud of and it didn't look good. It just sucked and I had to redo it. And it's not going to. If anything, it's like the opposite. It's it's destructive, right? It's destroying whatever you made. Something's because of the drop in quality. Something is going to get lost. The details are going to get lost.
Exactly.
It's destructive.
Exactly.
So if it's not already good and you put your little VHS thing on it,
It's not going to magically save it.
Yeah, it's not a heal. It's not a quick fix to make a cool epic edit. It's they have to look good regardless, I think, and they have to especially look good regardless because it will destroy details and it will
It's literally
stuff you work into and it'll just be gone because you put it through a VHS tape.
in every way it is quite literally a visual downgrade.
Yeah,
You can't
Exactly.
make something and think, oh, it'll look good once I put the filter over it.
no,
You know, because it's going to look worse once you put the filter over it.
it's true. It's just but a lot of people feel like that and they think they can make something very lackluster and then put a lackluster filter on it and that'll fix it. That'll, you know, it's
80s kids these days. What can I say?
goes back to the point about half-assing it. You know, I just don't really understand why you do it if you're not putting your full effort into it. I guess is my thing.
Yeah, if you're not gonna with something that requires so much effort to do it right, I feel like you need to either put your pedal to the metal and just do it, or don't do it. You know,
Yeah,
if you do it
it's,
halfway, it's not going to be as good.
Even more so with the fact that it's literally made just for looking at. There's no informational purpose. There's no use case for what this is. It's just to look at. It's pretty to look at, and that's it.
Right.
So if you're not putting your full effort into making it look good, then one that shouldn't exist. It's pointless.
Exactly. Exactly.
But it's fun though. I have a lot of fun doing the intros and the outros for my channel and a lot of the VHS stuff. It's very, very fun. It's honestly the funnest part of creating to me is because I do whatever I want and people like it. So
Right. Whenever
good gig.
whenever I see the intros and outros to your videos, I'm less fascinated by the VCR effect you put onto it and more by the intro itself. Like there's clearly a lot of work put into it with making like not user interfaces, but like what do you call it? When you're like watching the news and you've got the logo for the news down at the bottom.
Yeah.
The watermark, I guess you could call it. You make like fake ones of those, and you make fake title cards, and you you like fully 3D render them, and it looks really good. It looks really real. Like, it looks like something I would see at the beginning of an educational tape in 1996. You know,
Yeah,
and it's really cool.
It's really fun to honestly, and I've said this with people before, and I said it just earlier that it's the funnest part of like making the videos to me. People don't believe me, but it's genuinely, it's like what I do is I sit down, I'll find a random like recording of a tape that no one's ever heard of from like 1998 or something,
Right.
and I'll pick out like 30 different. I was like, how'd they do this? How'd they do this? How'd they do this? And I'll do it in After Effects, and I'll try to make it look as close as possible, and then I create something around that, or like it's never like around one effect, but it's like it feels like cool, like it's like being a archaeologist, you know. I'm going through these old tapes no one's ever heard of, and there's like this edit that's very clearly, very meticulously, someone spent a lot of time on this in 1998, but no one's ever seen it. It's like, well, now they can see it. They can see my version of it that I stole from you and put it and put in this big conglomerate of an edit for
it all comes together. We were just talking about how it's all about taking what other people have done and putting your own twist on it. It all comes around.
I'm sure eventually I'm gonna see someone who's kind of doing like a shitty version of my gimmick or something, and that's just how it is. I'll be very grateful for that day. It's like flattering, you know. It's like when people ask me about it, or people send me like stuff that they made, like, oh, I was inspired by your video to make this, and it's like, that's cool, man. It looks like shit, but it's cool, man. Thanks.
Let's get it.
One day it'll be good.
I think the funniest thing that could happen is if someone, like, you get a comment on one of your videos from someone that recognizes the effect you use, and you're like, hey, you got that off the VHS tape for PBS Presents Studying the Earth Volume 4.
It's true. The I don't know, man, it's just fun. It's cool, and it's also, I think it's I'm not like whining. It's harder than people think it is, I guess, but it's also, I have a lot of fun doing it, so I can't
and that's all that really matters at the end of the day. I think
to me it's like doing a puzzle, you know. It's cracking a big puzzle of making something look good. That's what it is to me, and it's enjoyable. It's relaxing.
That's all it's about. It's just, do you have fun making content? If you don't make that content.
Yeah, do something else.
Yeah, make something else. Make something that you enjoy.
Yeah.
So earlier I mentioned that there was an elephant in the room that we had not addressed. And I'm looking over in the corner of the room we're in, and I see this big elephant, and I think someone needs to say something about this guy.
He stinks. He's stinking the room up, in my opinion.
He's taking up way too much space. We need to say something. He's holding up a sign that says, address me and I'll leave. So I think that's what we need to do. So let's address the elephant in the room. I'm sure a lot of people watching this that are already familiar with you and your content and your channel are also familiar with the interactions between you and another channel called DNSL. Now, for those unfamiliar, DNSL, also known as, you know, some people call him Daniel, is a fairly popular creator. We can't say exactly how popular because he keeps the subscriber count on his channel hidden for some reason. It appears Ratlobber is playing on his DS.
Sorry, I was playing my DS. I was gonna wait for you to finish yours. Continue, please.
No, it's okay. It's okay. We like to have fun on this show. And if playing New Super Mario Brothers DS is the way to have fun, then that's just how it goes, you know. But we don't know how popular DNSL is exactly because he keeps the subscriber count on his channel hidden, and as far as I know, has for quite some time. But
it's true.
He makes videos of himself generally just messing with people in multiplayer games, especially in Second Life. Now, I like his videos. He's a funny guy in his videos. I think his videos are entertaining. He finds some real interesting characters to talk to in these games, and it's usually pretty entertaining. But you, Ratlobber, have a bit of some might say a history with him. So why don't you kind of give a rundown of that history for those viewers that might be unaware?
All right, so Daniel from Second Life.
He starts off with a yawn. You sound really interested in telling this story.
No, I've had to tell it like 300 times, but it's just how it is. It's interesting.
You can just give us the Cliff Notes version.
I'll give them the full unfiltered story. Okay.
Now, have you told this version of the story ever before?
I think I've told it in private. I don't know if there's a public.
All right, so you heard it here first, folks. This is once again another very good show exclusive.
A very good show exclusive.
TMZ, eat your fucking heart out.
This is a very good show exclusive.
Boom. Go ahead.
So Daniel from Second Life, I watched, honestly, and here's the god honest truth about the situation.
We don't like any other kind of truths on the show.
His videos. I watched Synth Follows, and I watched fucking, I don't even know what the other one was. It was not a Second Life video, because I think his Second Life videos are the worst content he does. They're very boring. It was probably Synth Follows and or Cole Stealer Daniels or something, right? And I found these videos one day, and I was like, these are pretty funny. There's like and my friends thought they were really funny. I thought they were really funny, and someone tipped off to me, because I sent the video into my friends, and I said, look at this. And they said, this guy has like a Twitch game show. You should go on it and say something funny to him, or like whatever. And I didn't know anything about his game show. I didn't see a single clip. I didn't see a single bit of footage. I went to his Twitch. He was streaming a game show of some sort. I clicked on the link to join. I joined. I wasn't really sure what was going on. It was kind of a weird experience. I'll give him credit for that. It was a cool. It's a cool idea, right?
Now, how did you join the show? Was it being hosted on a game?
It was being hosted on Gary's Mod, the video game Gary's Mod.
Gotcha. Okay. I don't know anything about his show either. I never watched it. I never really cared to.
That's fair. It's honestly it's a bit boring. It's a cool idea, but not when you do it every 3 times a month, and you just, I don't know. It's like torture. It's like torture is what it is. But
you seem to hold it in very high regard. Go on.
I joined his little show, and I asked him. I was like the first guy called on to talk to Daniels, I guess, for some reason. And I didn't really have anything to say, because I didn't really know who he was. I just knew he was a guy on YouTube who was weird and fucked with people.
Right.
And so I asked him, "Are you Nasty Mikey?" Right? I said, "Are you Nasty Mikey?" on the voice chat feature of the game. And he says, "I have a nasty mic." And I said, "No, are you Nasty Mikey?" He says, "That's very funny. Get on my friend." I go to walk into his little game show, shoots me in the back of the head, and I die, right? And that was pretty much the end of it. I posted the clip, and it got a lot of views, got a lot of traction.
Because it's just kind of a funny clip, by itself.
So, yeah, it's just a funny clip. So then I did it again, right, naturally. And this time I asked him, "Are you Nasty?" And I kept repeating it ad nauseum, and very annoyingly, I might add.
In the same way that he does in his videos.
Yes, in the exact same... in a sort of Daniel style to Daniels, you know what I mean? And that was kind of, I wouldn't say he was immediately angry, but there was obviously it was he became very out of character. It shook him up a little bit, and people noticed that when I posted that video, the second video, and they were like, "Oh, Daniels is you trolled him, dude. You fucked with him. You're whatever. Oh, Daniels finally got out trolled or whatever." And it's that was never the intention. It was just being funny. But then that gave me an idea of well, let's say he really did get angry, and let's just pretend that he did, right? To fuck with him. And so I made a third video. I think it was the third video at this point, where I said, "Hey guys, Daniels contacted me, and he's so mad, and he threatened to drone strike my house, and he said he's gonna blow my house up, and he's pissed, right?" Which is not true.
Obviously.
But then it sat there for 5 months with 1,000 views, and nobody cared about it. I had 100 subs. But then Daniels found it, and he saw the comment section, and he didn't understand the joke. Is as best as I can put it. The jokes, people were like, "Oh, Daniels fell off. I'm seeing a new side to Daniels. He threatened to drone strike your house." He saw that. He didn't get it. He's like an alien who doesn't understand it. And it pissed him off a lot. He left at least 50-something comments on my YouTube channel about how I was a stalker troll or something. Yeah, it was tons, because he has 3 different channels he comments on.
Right.
And he said I was all this nasty stuff, And then he said
that's why they call him that.
That's why they call him Nasty Mikey. But
that joke was terrible. Go on.
From there, it just escalated. He said he was going to DMCA strike the videos, which is not. He can't do that because legally he's allowed to do that. There is no such thing as a false DMCA claim on YouTube, right? You can do whatever you want. But I said, well, if you do that, Daniel, my friend, you will be revealing in the process. YouTube will send me a letter with your full name, your address, your country of origin, your phone number. They'll send that to me. I said that I don't want that to happen to you for a stupid joke, right? He then screenshotted that of me saying, "Hey, don't do that," and he kind of painted it as Ratlobber's trying to dox me. And I was like, "Well, that's just
I remember seeing that. Untrue. He posted that in his subreddit, didn't he?
He posted it twice on his subreddit.
Twice. I only saw the one. Wow.
that was to me just very patently dishonest and very patently untrue.
Right.
And from there, I kind of left it alone. I was like, whatever. This guy's obviously. I mean, I knew I'm. Like, I can read the room, and I can tell that the majority of people were like, "This is a crazy guy, going nuts." You know, I mean, Daniels is obviously not the most centered guy. So it was just a guy like being.
That's a nice way of putting it.
People ignored it, right?
Right.
Another 5 months later, he saw I hit 1.5 thousand subscribers, and he posted it again. Obviously, he posted it again, and he posted like chat logs and stuff. He has this like obsession with it, with canceling people, I guess, or canceling me in general.
Right.
And we had a conversation. I called him a few words in it, you know what I mean? But they were very public. They were very public conversations. It was never intended to be private. So he's like posting them as some sort of gotcha. But I don't know, man. They were normal. They were just stuff that I said. I stand by everything I said to him, and
It wasn't anything like crazy or extreme or anything like that.
Yeah, and that's more or less the story so far. It's just Daniels being upset at a lame joke, and that wasn't funny. And honestly, like the God honest truth is all he had to say was, "This isn't funny. You're not funny."
That's all that needed to happen.
It would be embarrassing. I'd be like an idiot. Like, "Oh, you dumb idiot. You failed. Nice try, pal. Not funny." But he didn't do that. He refused to do that, and he still refuses to do that. He has dug himself even deeper, and he's making himself look even more crazy.
It seems like he's taking the most difficult route he possibly could have taken.
Precisely. It's very odd and it's very weird, but that's the full Nasty Mikey saga. That's how it is.
That's the whole story.
That's
the whole
it from
trilogy.
A to B, and the 100% accurately. No embellishments. I didn't leave anything out. I didn't add anything to make myself look better. That's what happened. That's the God honest truth.
He didn't add anything. He just did look better than Daniels in this situation.
hey, you can decide how you want to. You know what I mean. You can leave a comment below #Team Daniels or #Team Rat.
Yeah, leave a comment #Team Daniels or #Team Lobber, and whoever gets more comments, I will send them $5.
Hell yeah. That's how it is. That's a lesson about YouTube, I guess, and lesson about I don't know. It's something. It's just very weird. And honestly, after like I think it's just funny. You know what I mean?
It is a pretty.
Again, I had 100 subs when this happened, so
he was mad at the guy with 100 subs, and he's got at least a couple 100,000, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got quite a lot. He's like kind of a
big guy.
He has at least like 100,000 on Twitch alone, which is kind of crazy. So obviously his YouTube is much bigger than that.
Right, because no one actually uses Twitch.
People respect him. People respected him for the longest time, and it wasn't until like this where it was like people.
A few people started to fall off, you know.
Yeah, it's just I don't know why he did that to himself. Again, that was never my. I don't hate him, and it was never my intention to like the crash and burn of Daniels. The troll is unmasked. I don't care.
Keemstar drama alert. YouTuber takes a fall.
Yeah, honestly, it was never anything like that. Never like targeted him. I honestly don't really just not my cup of tea. You know what I mean? But that's the full story. That's how it is.
Well, that's very entertaining. That's very, very humorous, very funny. That's very funny, friend.
It's very funny, my friend.
But let's now that we've gotten that story you've told a million times to a million different people out of the way, let's talk about something a bit more positive, something you might be a little more, I guess, passionate about. You know, so I'm not sure how many people know this. I think anyone that's taken a look at his website ratlobber.com or the about page on his YouTube channel, you might know that Ratlobber here has a Bandcamp where he posts some original music, and so this music is it's pretty good. It's pretty good. The name you posted under the name rat.virus, right?
That's true. That is true.
Now you and I have talked about your music a little bit before, you know, in DMs and call a few times, but I was wondering, how would you describe the genre of music you make, and why did you choose that genre specifically? And before you answer, let's leave a few seconds of silence in so I can play a brief snippet of a song so people understand what I'm talking about.
Hell yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Did you like that? I hope so. Thanks. That's my little
And
thing.
you can send me which song you want me to use later.
Sure. So the music, as far as the music, honestly, the music.
I'm leaving all of that in, by the way.
Great. This is raw, unfiltered. We don't cut anything out. This is as it happened.
Uncensored.
But the music stuff is funny because before I was doing YouTube or even thought about doing anything like concerning YouTube,
right?
And even before, honestly, I wasn't like I was like off the internet for like 5 years. So
wise decision, I must say.
During that like 5-year period, I was making music and I was DJing a lot. I was doing DJing stuff, which was fun.
Okay.
And I decided to start making my own music because I loved DJing so much. I loved making mixes so much. I decided to make my own music, and it's electronic music. Which honestly, if you told me I'd be making electronic music a while ago, I would be like, what the heck? But I think it was like a cool challenge because I wasn't happy with like the state of electronic, like Calvin Harris and like fucking like Diplo and stuff.
Right.
This
sounds like a Diplo song.
I was very unhappy with it, and so I was like, well, what if I make electronic music and I make it cool and I make it good? And that's what I hopefully have achieved. And not that I've done it like alone, I guess. I've had a lot of cool influences, a lot of cool producers and DJs that I was a big fan of, like Paul Johnson out of Chicago. He's a house music producer, rest in peace. But that's like my biggest musical, I think, anything is Paul Johnson. And very underrated. Very, very underrated artist.
Go check out Paul Johnson on Spotify.
Yes, go check out Paul Johnson.
Go check out paul.spotify. That's where all his music is.
paul.spotify.com. No, but Paul Johnson is a house artist from Chicago.
Right.
Very, very, honestly, probably my favorite, just one of my favorite musicians ever. Bump Talkin' is probably my second favorite album behind Jamiroquai's Traveling Without Moving. So
that's a good one. That's a good one.
It's a music thing. But as far as the music goes, it's taken me to a lot of places. It's been very fun to do. I've met a lot of cool people through it, and it's I like it. I'd say it's music. It's music I make for like myself first and foremost. So the fact that anybody else likes it is just a added bonus.
Right. I think that holds true for all content creation, but I think especially oh, excuse me. I think especially for music. I think if you're not making it for yourself, who are you making it for?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what's the point?
I think even if you're the best like liar or like the best guy at hiding something in the world, I think it's still very noticeable when someone who's making something doesn't have their full heart in it. You know what I mean? And that's like sounds like insane, like pseudoscience or something, but it's the God honest truth. It's very easy to tell when someone doesn't enjoy what they're doing or doesn't have their heart into it, and that's just how it is. It's
all about.
It's very noticeable.
You can tell usually by how much effort they're putting into it. You know, that's a pretty obvious indicator now that I say it out loud.
Yeah.
But it's the easiest indicator, because if someone, let's say someone makes a video and they talk like this that are in the video, and they leave in a lot of stutters and a lot of ums and ahs and some hms and ha's, and they don't really care to make it sound a little bit better, and they're not putting any energy into their vocals, you know, then I think that person's not like enjoying making the video. Or if someone makes a song and the mixing is terrible, or they leave in like mistakes they might have made with the instrument. Now, if they hear that and they know it's there and they decide to leave it in because they just don't care, I hear that and I think, well, this person doesn't really care about what they're doing. They shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, I don't know. It's I think when you're on the other side of that and you're kind of half-assing whatever you're doing and like not really putting your whole heart into it. It's like you don't notice it, but like just for the record, just for everyone, so everyone's clear, everybody else like definitely will. You're not going to notice it. You're going to be like, oh, this is whatever, but everyone else will, and that's it's just it never results in something productive or good. I think
you should never ever cut corners when it comes to something that you want to be passionate about.
I agree.
Because then no one will think you're actually passionate about it.
It's true. It's just how it is.
That's just how it is. That's just how it is.
That's just how it is. It's just the way it is. It's just the way the world is.
Now, my next question, you kind of already answered it with the last one, but I'm going to go ahead and ask it anyway, and maybe rephrase it in a little bit of a different way so that maybe you can maybe it can be revealed that you didn't actually answer it and I was lying the whole time. So when I listen to your music, I am reminded of artists like Aphex Twin, and I get a very Jet Set Radio kind of vibe from it. What would you say? Now, you mentioned Paul Johnson, but
yes.
What would you say is your main inspiration for continuing to make music? And what aside from Paul Johnson, because you named him, but you named him. Are there any other like big inspirations for you for making music and continuing to make music? Any media, any other artists, things like that?
I think in general, like honestly, I have a lot of musical inspirations that might not be so obvious, but as far as like general music goes, I think Jamiroquai is a big
fantastic artist,
and it just not only in music but also like in general. A lot of stuff I do is very in that same vein, and I think they've kind of perfected it. But music wise, I think Yellow Magic Orchestra, Ryuichi Sakamoto, and like a lot of the basically any member of the Yellow Magic Orchestra who are a Japanese band from quite a while ago that made electronic music. They
I'm not sure I've heard of them.
It's they're very good. They have a lot of great music that behind those like that group of people.
Then dear viewers, please join me in checking out Yellow Magic Orchestra on Spotify.
Do it. It's I think it's a fun trip, and it's cool. It's very good electronic music, and there's a lot of cool electronic music out there. You just have to look for it in places besides like Calvin Harris or fucking Skrillex or fucking I don't know. I don't want to. It's just I think there's what I've learned making electronic music is that there's a huge distinction between like mall electronic music and like real actual electronic music, like from honestly, just if you go through like old house records from like Chicago in like the 80s and 90s and stuff, you'll find some really crazy stuff. Jungle from Chicago in the 80s and 90s, it's a trip, man. There's some really good music that's been made, and it's not a crazy popular genre. It's picking up steam now, I think, because of a Drake album, but
right. That's a little unfortunate in my own professional opinion, but
yeah, it's a weird way for not the way I thought house music would get recognition, but there you go.
Well, we've been going for about 50 minutes and going on an hour now, so I felt a little out of my element, trying to hold the conversation about like house music and techno, because it's not a genre I don't want to say I'm not fond of it. I just haven't taken enough time to go listen to music of that kind. There's a few songs on a few of my playlists that I think would fit in that mold, but for me, someone that's barely invested in the genre, what artists would you recommend for me and for anyone else who's in the same boat as I am?
So what I would recommend for you to anybody trying to get into house music and electronic music is to look up Paul Johnson, look up Yellow Magic Orchestra for like a starting base, and then if you want some really underground like
that real indie stuff,
that real real being made currently, there is a group of crazy talented producers on Twitter named Dirty Bird and Days God that are making house music right now, and I think you should check it out. It's very cool and very good. And
you hearing that, everyone? Write that down.
There is something different about like listening to old music by artists who are like forever ago, and like listening to music that just came out and is new and fresh and cool, and like being able to interact with that person on like social media is like a cool layer of interactivity, I guess. I don't know. It's
makes the music feel a bit more grounded. This isn't music being made by just some faceless person I'll never get to know anything about. This is music made by another human being.
Yeah, exactly.
Who has the same thoughts and emotions that I do.
Exactly. It's a cool. I don't know. There's a whole cool world of electronic music that's very good and very very fresh, I think. And it's best to get into it now before it becomes like a crazy commercialized thing that sucks.
Right.
So
Right. I feel
yeah.
like that's the fate that unfortunately befalls nearly any music genre. It's very heartbreaking when it does.
Yeah, it's only, you can only keep something like that cool to yourself for so long. Eventually the wrong person catches on and it becomes the whole thing. But
Just like with YouTube content creation, you know, you make a bandwagon, people jump on it, they make their own. It's an endless cycle. Except this time, you've got to deal with music industry people, and that makes it a lot worse.
Yeah, it's like the analog horrification of
Oh, don't even get me
stuff.
started, dude. Don't even get me started. All right, well, like I said, we've been going on an hour now, and that means I have just one last question for you. One that's a bit more open-ended. Now, it's okay if you don't want to divulge anything, but do you, Mr. Lobber, have any plans for the future of your channel, long-term or short-term? You know, any video or even project ideas in mind?
Honestly, I think right now I'm in a very weird. I've been in like a transitory period with my channel for like the better part of like 6 months, or probably even less than that.
Right.
And I think what I do now is kind of, which is this is like me putting unnecessary pressure on myself. But what I do now is kind of decides the future of my channel, I guess. But I think I take solace in the fact that I think the plans that I have are like a lot bigger than just like a YouTube channel. You know what I mean? I'd like to get into making a lot more crazy, wacky stuff, and maybe the YouTube channel will come in handy with that. It's
Okay.
It's been fun though. It's been cool, and even if if my next video flops and I never make videos again, I had fun and it was a nice experience. And,
I mean, you know, every
great.
YouTube video I make has been doing worse and worse, and that's okay. You know, my next video will get 10 views. It'll be fantastic. But that's not the point, you know? You should make content for you, not for the view count or the sub count. I stream. Precisely. I'm starting to do it like somewhat regularly, somewhat often. And even though the most viewers I've ever had at one time was 14, you know, that's not the point. I'm streaming because it's fun.
Yeah, precisely. It's just I don't know. I think the thing about the internet, and I think this goes for like anything on the internet, is that if you're having fun and you have people like stuff that is like people having fun, you know. And one guy having fun is cool. But if you're able to find yourself like a group of people that you like and you're all having fun publicly, and like people will like latch onto that, I think. So
exactly. And if you, the viewer, if you're looking for a group of funny little guys that like doing what they do, just check out my YouTube channel. check out the channel page. On my page, you've got some funny little guys there. We have fun. We have fun.
That's what's important, is it's just having fun, you know. It's
that's all it is. That's all it is.
You get on your computer, you get online, you log into a computer, and you have fun, and that's what you do.
If you not have fun, then you find different hobby.
Turn off PC.
Turn off computer. Get off the internet. Go outside and enjoy the fresh air while it's still here.
Yeah, I see a lot of people upset on the internet, and my thing is, I'll never complain about anything that has an off switch. You know, that's my motto. That's my original motto I thought of. But,
I mean, as the great Jaden Smith once said, how is cyberbullying real? Ha 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 ha. Just walk away from the screen. Like, close your eyes. Ha ha.
Exactly.
If you're not having fun doing something that you do on the internet, or at all, this applies to life. We're talking life here. We like to talk about life on this show. Not just internet content creation, not just content creation of any kind. If you're not having fun doing what you do, stop doing it.
Precisely.
Find something else to do. And this can be said about hobbies, this can be said about career choices. Do what makes you happy, because that's the only person you should be caring about in this life. Is you.
Exactly. I think the trap of like trying to appeal to everybody is like when the God honest truth is, if you appeal to yourself and you like what you're doing and you have fun making it, people will take notice of that.
People will like it.
That's how it is.
No one wants to watch content made by someone that's not enjoying making it.
Yeah, it sucks, man. It honestly, when it's like subtle and not outwardly, it still sucks. But when someone's like clearly like Like I think I'm guilty of this. I've streamed a few times and I didn't really want to, and I wasn't really having a good time. And it's if you want a first-hand experience of how like negativity kind of like gets people to leave, I was like, oh, I'm not having any fun on this game. This sucks. Oh, this stream sucks. And then people were like leaving with like the dozens. You know what I mean? It was like,
Right.
it's just how it is. The just be a cool guy and have fun and be epic. I think my advice to you.
Be fun, be a cool guy, or have fun, be a cool guy, be epic. Those are some wise words from the Ratlobber himself. Well,
Yes, it's true.
we're about to hit an hour. We're at 57 minutes in on this recording. That's more than I was expecting, honestly.
1 hour, one whole hour.
One
of time.
entire hour.
60 minutes have passed.
57.
Count to 1 minute. 57 minutes have passed. That's
Not
lot
counting
of
the 3
minutes.
that are about to pass. And that's
in
pretty
1 minute.
crazy.
In 1 minute, you can make a cup noodles. So, in this time you've been listening to this, you could have been making 58 cup noodles. Believe it or not,
58
crazy.
cup noodles. That's a lot of noodles.
a lot of cup noodles. Do you put your cup noodles in the microwave? By the way,
It depends. If I'm if I'm in a rush or if I want to actually enjoy the food I'm about to eat.
see, I think you need to invest in the kettle. I think everybody should invest in the kettle. If you take one thing away from this, fuck all this YouTube shit. You go buy a kettle off Amazon, man. It's so useful. I've been boiling water like a monkey for so long. I put it in the microwave or putting it on the pot in the stove. Go get an electric kettle from Amazon for like $28, man. That's what I made this big, huge, nasty pot of tea with. It's actually really good, but it's just nastily big, you know.
Right.
Go get yourself a electric kettle from Amazon.
I'll put a
my
link
official
to the top-rated electric kettle on Amazon in the description just for you.
And you better buy it. You better, if you take anything out of this podcast, is that you need to work 3 hours at your job so you can afford a kettle, and then buy it. And listen, you better buy it now because the economy's only going to get worse. And you're gonna be next
Kettle price is going up and up.
$58. Today it's $28.
The kettle
One-time
industry
offer.
is in shambles at the moment.
I'm looking out for the little guy. I'm looking out for you. Buy your kettle while you
Looking
still
out
can.
for the kettle industry.
Yeah. I'm a nice guy.
All right. All right, we somehow managed to kill 2 more minutes with Kettle Talk. That's
Kettle
fantastic.
Talk. #Kettle Talk.
That's the new name of the show, everybody. Thank you for watching the inaugural episode of Kettle Talk, or as it's known to European audiences, the Very Good Show.
True.
Ratlobber, thank you for coming on. Thank you for
My pleasure.
agreeing to be the first guest. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of
Chick-fil-A,
fun.
my pleasure.
It's been a lot of fun just talking to you about seemingly random things, and I hope the lovely people watching this had just as much fun listening to us talk about them. Thank you,
Hope so.
everyone. Thank you, everyone, for watching. My next guest needs no introduction because I don't know who it is yet. We're still working on that. We've got more stuff in the works. Ratlobber has stuff in the works. It's going to be great. The upcoming weeks, months, / years are going to be fantastic.
It's true. It's this little clique of internet people is going to produce some of the craziest, wackiest stuff you've ever seen.
Some of the
Yes, that is.
craziest and the wackiest stuff. We don't normally like to double up on this show, but today I think we need to, with craziest and wackiest. Both of those
Craziest
things
and
at the
wackiest.
same time. Gonna be incredible.
Truly.
All right, well, I'm not good at outros, so thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Blah, blah, blah,
Done.
blah. This is me. I'm Pictures in Panavision.
Hey,
and then
one
this is
time I
me.
seen Judy Hopps pull out whore.
That didn't
whore
happen. That didn't
whore
happen.
butt. I don't know
Nope.
why I'm saying whore like this.
I
but
don't
whore,
know.
I saw
I don't
whore.
know. He's from
I saw
Jersey.